Today we'll be looking into site analysis. So what do you mean by site analysis and what are all the different aspects that comes under site analysis is what we are going to do. So while we are studying about site analysis, it's like very important to know about all the on-site and off-site features of a particular site. We'll just directly get into what it is. Generally, site analysis is nothing but the process of surveying or studying the existing environment and how it will influence the structure's design and layout on the site. So here is a example that I have taken from the net, which shows on different views outside and views from outside to inside. You will have the possible wind direction and all those what are all features that is available in your site. You can either use it in a positive manner or you can decide on whether you want it or not. Okay, so it is the process of rightly identifying and surveying or studying what is existing in your environment. It can be on or within the boundary of your environment, or it can be outside, which is going to influence your site. Okay, you are going to a site. So when you go to a site for the very first time, you will do something called as a reconnaissance survey. So it is a French word which says to recognize. Okay, so this is the very preliminary stage of survey. So you might know before designing a site, this is what your site is going to be, this is where it is going to be located. You will know a very few information or detail that was given by the client to you. So you have everything with you, and with that you will just say for an example, you just do a quick browsing through net. You will try to identify the location, you will try to see what is happening around. You will just do a very quick thing through net or whatever information it is available already. So when you are going to the site for the first time, with whatever the information you know already, you will go to the site and you will collect all the relevant information for the very first time. You will try to explore and do an examination with whatever is existing within and what is around your site. So always site visits are important before you start your design. Why? Because you study few things. You study wind movement, you study sun movement, everything, but unless and until you go to a site directly and do it, you will not understand what are the influential factors that you can see and what are the surrounding elements that is going to influence your wind movement and the sun pattern. So site surveying for the very first time or exploring your site for the very first time is called as reconnaissance, and it is recommended to go to your site compulsory before you start any kind of design. So this is a very basic preliminary stage of survey. Okay, so you have a site now. You don't know any idea or you don't have any idea about the boundary, about the dimensions that are there, or if you don't have any physical boundaries, then you will not be able to start your design properly. So what you require is surveying. So you are supposed to do a survey. So this is for both a very large scale or even for a very smaller scale project. So here you have few terminologies like what is survey and what is surveying. So survey is nothing but locating the boundaries or the building, the pavement, whatever it is. So it is generally it is the location, or you try to locate few things on to the land surface. So land is what you see above the what you see on top. So whatever you see directly is called as the land. So you acquire a lot of information about the site and you put it. So that is generally called as survey. So what is surveying then? So surveying is defined as science of making measurements of the earth. So it is the science of doing measurements onto the surface of the earth, so or on the land. So that is surveying. So we are just going to look into surveying and what is it all about. So firstly, we have something, what is the aim of field surveying? So surveying, it can be, say you have a particular project for which you have to acquire few details, so you go to people, you just collect information, that can also be called as surveying, but this is called as specifically field surveying. So field surveying is going to help you in measuring the horizontal and the vertical distances and the elevations between given points, and it will also help you to identify either relative direction. Say for an example, you have a true north and say you have something on your existing there, so with that reference you will be trying to identify a relative direction, or else it can be absolute direction. So you will be identifying the angles, or like how much the your orientation is towards from your exact north point or your exact north orientation. So you will be identifying the distances and also the direction, and the angles also can be identified from the surveying. Okay, why surveying is so important? What does it happens if you are not doing a proper survey? Okay, survey is going to help you in acquiring the information and measurements, especially while doing planning and designing of a very large scale construction like highways, bridges, tunnels, dams, etc. These are very, very, very essential, because while you're planning a very large scale construction, you have to very, very keen and importantly mark all your points exactly, so that it is not going to encroach whatever is already there with whatever is available, or with whatever measurements it has been planned. It has to be marked exactly onto the surface. If the surveying is not done properly, then you will have a lot of issues while you are doing large scale projects. And surveying will fix all your national, state boundaries and etc. And your coastlines, your navigations, everything will have surveys. So even in shipping, even in airlines, they'll have a set of maps where they will try to navigate through a single existing lines. So everything will have an impact through surveying, and you will have a lot of control points. So to execute hydrographic and oceanographic mappings and chartings, you need surveying. Then to prepare topographic map of your earth surface. So your topographic map is going to have a lot of influence in your design as well. So we'll just look into everything. So to do all these important executions, you need surveying. Alright, we have a lot of different classifications based on survey. We'll just see one after other. So again, these classifications is being done based on few important aspects. So first is accuracy. How accurate your dimensions or your information have to be. The second is purpose. For what purpose you are going to do your survey. The third is place, where the survey is going to be happen. And finally, the instrument that has been going to help you in doing the survey. So with all this, again your classification is going to be divided into various categories. So firstly is accuracy. So we all know that your earth surface is not flat, it is going to be of a geodetic or you have lot of undulations on your earth surface. So plane survey is one method where you will not have any exact reference, or you will not completely into the outline of your surface. That is kind of negligible when you do a plane survey. Whereas in a geodetic survey, what happens is all the exact elevations and the depressions of your earth's surface is taken into account. So when you compare these two surveys, geodetic survey will have minute accuracy. It will give you a very good uh, survey detail when you compare to the plain survey. Then purpose. You have so many purposes out there. So for what are the purpose it is being used? First is engineering. You have all your bridges constructed, your railway lines constructed, your roads. So whatever is being engineered, then that is one important purpose. Then defense. For defense, you have a set of defense map available only for the defense people, and you will be having all the important locations where it will be monitored and surveyed every time. So you have defense as another important purpose for surveying. Then you have the geological survey. So you have your earth surface. It is not that all the surface of the earth over and below the earth surface is not going to be the same. You have lot of variation. So you have different soil type, you have different underneath properties, you have lot of different rocks that are found out in one particular place which is not available on other spaces. You have lot of minerals available beneath the earth surface. You have so much into the geological process. So for that you need surveying. Then geography is what onto the land surface, it is like above it. So you have your land area, you have water body, you have mountains, you have forests. So all these are surveyed, and you have maps available for different categories again within each and every subdivision. Then mining. So as I have already told you, so you have a lot of minerals available. So for while executing mining, they will try to identify one particular resource of one particular area. They will just try to delineate that wealth of mineral on one area, and then your mining process will be done, and it will be executed based on the survey that you going to do for a mining. Then archaeological, yes, so you have a lot of archaeological excavations that are done. So before you are going to do it, they'll try to do sampling. So sampling will be done for mining as well. So you will do sampling. So with whatever is available, you have lot of instruments that are available to scan what is there under, and with that you have a lot of archaeological excavations that is happening. So that is one again a typology of surveying. Then you have route. So you have all your different ways of transportation, and for that again you have surveying which is going to help you. So here I have taken a map of Kerala. This I have taken from their particular website, where I can kind of compare you and give you an idea of what is meant by geological and geographical layout. So geographical is what is you can see right here. So you will have the delineation of different districts. You will have the delineation of which is the highest point, which is the lowest point, which is the coastal area. You have all the different varieties of sand that is available, where you have water bodies available. So all these kind of aspects that are there over your land, onto the land surface, that you can see directly is what can be seen in a geological map. Whereas in a geographical map, in a geological map, what happens is that you will know what kind of granite. See, there is like two different spots where granite is available, where you have to dig deeper inside and then you have to identify that. Then you will have laterites. So here you have all the laterites. So you have a lot of sedimentation happening on to the coastal areas. So this is how you will have the difference between geological and the geographical maps of Kerala. So again, this is from the official website. Okay, here I have an example of for mining. So in the left one is going to show you the on the left, what you see is the planning for all your power station. So you have all the power stations which is already located, which is under process, and which are like proposals. So everything is from the power station link. So here they have identified all the zones where you have a very good wealth beneath, and accordingly they just locate all the power stations. So in the right you have an archaeological image. So this is a site in Tamil Nadu which is Arikamedu. So here you have lot of different sets of samples. So they have the samples taken, then they have identified where you have the brick areas, then you have lot of excavations that has happened. So all these are being marked in the map. So this is called as the archaeological map, and this is how the survey is being done and executed in a map. Okay, then place. So you have place as like one is the land surface, then you have the hydrographic areas or the ocean areas where you will have to do all the ocean related surveying. Then underground surveying, you have a lot of underground surveying happens. Then you have the aerial survey. So aerial survey is what you use lot of aircrafts to do all those survey. Again, when you take land, you can identify the topographical, cadastral and the city layouts. So this is how your place is being differentiated, or the land area is being differentiated into different sets. Then you have instruments. Again, for surveying, from the very first start of surveying till now, you have like so many instruments that are being developed to execute a proper survey. So first is the very preliminary one, and even though it is being preliminary, it is even in use in few areas as I have inquired. So first is chain, then you have traverse, then you have tachometry, leveling, plane tabling, triangulation method, EDM, total station and satellite based instruments. So all these are set of instruments which is going to do maybe a different set of surveys. So chain survey, you will just measure the horizontal one where you will have exact horizontal dimensioning. Then you have EDM is something called as the electromagnetic distance measurement, where you can just measure from few distances, few meters, okay, meters within. Then you have satellite based, where you can just take aerial imagery, and with that you can do all the surveying and you can do all the survey that can be done. So this is how the set is being classified. So we have seen classification of survey, in which you classify based on accuracy, you classify based on the need, why the purpose. Then the classification is based on the instrument here. Then the classification is based on again the land area or where your surveying is going to be done. So this is how your surveying set is being differentiated. Okay, you do lot of survey, you are doing dimensioning into there. You have to know few different typologies of units that are being used all around. So the first one is MKS units, which is meter, kilogram and second based units. Then you have CGS, which is centimeter, gram and second. Then you have something called as FPS, which is foot, pound and second. So each set of units is being followed by different set of people. Say for an example, in Western countries, in US, you might have something different. Here in India, we use generally meter, kilograms and second base units, which is MKS units. And at times you use CGS also, which is centimeter, gram and second. So this is how you have to use. If you are going to use meter, then it have to be completely meter, kilogram and second. So it should not be mixed throughout. So with all these set of different dimensions which are being units which are being used, so at one point what they did is they tried to unite everything together. So with that we have something called as the International System of Units, which is called as the SI units. So where you have the base set of units. So for length you have to use meters in SI unit. For time it has to be second. For the luminous intensity it has to be candela. For amount of substance it has to be volt. For temperature it has to be Kelvin. For electric current it has to be ampere, and for mass or weight it has to be kilogram. So this is the SI system which is being accepted internationally, and everybody is using the system. So while we are doing a survey, and while we are transferring into paper, and while we are going to give it to somebody to do their dimensioning, or when you read it you should know what is the set of units that is being used and how they use it. So that is why we just have a gist on what units of measurements is. So with this the analysis starts from the survey. So from survey you will have a map with all dimensioning, all horizontal dimensions, your elevations or the vertical differences, maybe for a building, maybe for a tree that is there. So you will have all the dimensions using some kind of units of measurements. It is good that you use SI units. So this is how your surveying is going to be. Okay, with this we'll end today's class and we'll see later. Bye.